Now we're recording.
Thanks, everyone. Welcome. Oh, what do I need to share? Share the video. Okay. Okay, good. Welcome, everyone, to our information session on our Masters of Education and Curriculum Studies, specifically in IB education. My name is Dr. Sandra Scott, and I'm going to take you through the journey today, and I also have Dr. Douglas Adler here as well. I'm the cohort coordinator, and we're looking forward to your questions, and we'll start by going through an overview of the program. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about doing a graduate degree in curriculum studies, and then we'll focus specifically on the IB context. That's why you're here. All right, so let's go to our first slide. And, so now we've got Dr. Adler here. We'll talk about program scheduling, and I'll give you a bit of a background to the program. We'll look at also the application and admissions overview, and the vet will take us through that. All right. So we have quite a history at UBC of master's cohorts, particularly in EDCP. So we'll be taking place on the Vancouver campus. What I think is unique and exciting about the MEd and IB is that this is a face-to-face program. So you get to come out to UBC and spend time on campus and build community with your fellow students, as well as the instructors in the program. So it's 2 years, and the start will be in September 2020. Who's it for? Well, you do not have to be an IB certified teacher, but you need 3 years of experience in an IB school. And so that is the focus of the program. People who are currently teaching in an IB setting or who have experience in an IB setting, and we're asking for 3 years, but just to give you the prior knowledge and experiences to prepare you for graduate work and also in IB education. So it's open to everybody. Say you're a science educator and you're interested in music or language arts or language and literacy or PE. You're all welcome, because our courses are very interdisciplinary in their focus, and we're going to have a look at those courses in a minute. But don't feel that, well, you know, I don't know anything about math or science, or you get to choose the focus of your work. And that's what doing a graduate degree is all about. It's doing something that you're passionate about, and the beauty of this cohort is that it's in the IB setting, within the IB context. Okay, our next slide. We have a really interesting background here at UBC on the IB. I was actually involved in the, just in a very, committee member way of bringing IB to our Bachelor of Education program. And we are the first university in Canada to offer an IB teacher education program, and it is very successful. And I'd like to thank Ms. Meredith Fenton for helping me really with putting together the PowerPoint slides today, because she's our expert, and many of you probably know Meredith, and she's just been instrumental in helping us prepare this cohort. So thank you to Meredith. So Meredith is actually the director of our IB program here, and we really felt, because we've had our IB cohort in the elementary, middle years, and also the secondary group for a few years, that there will be some teachers who are going, you know what, I've been teaching in IB for 3 years. I think I want to try a graduate program. I want to become a graduate student, and I want to focus on IB. So this is why we put together this cohort, just for you, for those of you who want to look specifically at IB education as a graduate student. Okay, next. All right, sorry, did I skip ahead there? Oh, don't, just bear with me. I think I just talked about that. Okay, this one here, all right. All right, so as I mentioned before, you should have the 3 years experience in an IB school or an IB setting. That's what we're asking for. So why would you want to do a graduate degree? Well, I'll tell you why I did one. I did one because I wanted to be a better teacher. That really was my focus. So this is for someone, you could make a difference in your own classroom, but maybe you want to come and make a difference in teacher education. You're an elementary teacher, a secondary teacher, a post-secondary teacher. These are all areas where you could bring your expertise to this cohort. So, and you already may be teaching at a post-secondary institution. And this is the cohort for you because you might want to further your understanding of IB in the curriculum studies setting. I added outdoor settings because that's a particular interest of mine, and I think because I will be teaching some of the courses in this cohort, I will incorporate my love of outdoor education and my love of environmental education. And in the IB setting, really, that's all about ecological justice, social justice, and it's a nice fit for IB. So the beauty of doing graduate work is that it actually it brings together a community. So doing face-to-face, a face-to-face program will do that. You will come to UBC and you will take courses here and you will meet other educators. And it really is a community of practice. And you get to become immersed into graduate student life in the Faculty of Education and in curriculum studies. So we really are a very strong community. There are many opportunities for graduate students here. And so that's what you will experience in our face-to-face program. Program philosophy. As I said before, I came to do a graduate work here at UBC because I wanted to be a better teacher. And I think this slide really sums up what to expect when you come here and do one of our programs, in this case, the IB program. So one thing we really focus on is that theory and practice. Teachers are wonderful at practice. It's then linking that to theory. And that is really the focus of graduate work, is the theorizing piece. And the different courses that we're running, I'll talk about a little bit about how that theory works into the coursework. You will also have the opportunity to collaborate, not only with people in your cohort, but also with the instructors and educators all over the community, in this case, the IB community. You'll get to, you'll be introduced to new theories in the field and new, what's happening in education, what's new? Because as classroom teachers, and I was a classroom teacher for many years, we love our classroom, we love teaching, but we don't have the opportunity to really get out there and share our ideas as much as we would as we do in graduate work. So this will provide you with that opportunity to really look at what's happening in IB education. And the other piece, of course, it really does help you be a better teacher in the sense that you can, if you want to go into leadership roles in IB or pursue other areas of IB, this will help prepare you for that because it provides the background that you will need in theory and practice to move forward in your career in IB.
Before you go ahead, yes. Sandra, could you click on that little purple thing?
Purple right, thing here.
Yeah.
Oh, there. Excellent. Thank you, Yvette. Yeah. I wanted to introduce to you members of the EDC community and our department head, Dr. Samson Nashon. I know Dr. Nashon very well. He's a science educator as well. I'm a science educator. And he's a very inspirational department head. He has a wide range of interests and expertise. And you'll be taking Education 500, which is the research methods course with Dr. Adler and me. And that is actually Dr. Nashon's course. He created that course, and I team taught it with him a few years ago, and now Dr. Adler and I teach the course. So our department head, Dr. Samson Nashon, and I think the next slide is me. There I am. And you may notice just behind me there, well, you can't really see it, but that's actually a killer whale behind me, and that gives you a little bit of an idea of what my focus is. I'm very passionate about marine education, and I think for the IB educators, you will recognize the eco-justice, social justice focus of my work, the international focus of my work there as well, and really focus on, for me, the Salish Sea and our southern resident orcas. So I will be teaching you the Education 500 and also be involved in the other courses, and you'll have the opportunity to take also an elective with me, which is the Environmental Ed course. And our next slide is of Dr. Douglas Adler. Douglas, would you like to say anything about yourself?
Where'd you get that photo?
Oh, I don't know where that photo came from. So tell us a little bit about your background.
I'm traditionally in elementary school. I was trained to be an elementary school teacher and did that for a while, and then there was the calling to university and doing some graduate work, and I've gone back and forth between graduate school and the classroom, and lately I've stayed with the graduate school side.
So why did you do a master's in curriculum studies?
I wanted to improve upon my understanding of my own teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the best route would be to work with somebody who I really admired as a teacher and as a researcher, and I thought spoke my language, and he also happened to be a professor at UBC. So through conversation with him, he encouraged me to pursue a graduate degree, my master's degree.
And I really encourage you, if you are considering joining us for the IB cohort, the Masters of Education and Curriculum Studies, definitely contact us. And let's get together. Let's have a conversation, meet for tea or coffee. That's really important to make the personal connection, and I'm happy to do that. So you can ask me questions and ask me about my own journey. And I think it's really important to talk to people who've been to UBC, done their masters here, and I cannot tell you, it really changed my life. Not only as a teacher in my professional life, but also my personal life. So I think Dr. Adler feels the same way. All right, let's look at our schedule. These are the courses that we will be offering. And year one is a series of courses, and these are all within an IB context. So some of these courses are offered in a general sense, but in your case, because you're IB, we have a focus on IB education. The EDCP 501 is taught by an Ed Studies colleague with expertise in IB, and they will be bringing in experts from the field as well. So it's not just about instructors from UBC, we also have practicing IB professionals who will be coming in and working with us as well. So you'll start with the introduction to IB across the curriculum. Then Education 500, Dr. Adler and I teach that course. We will have a specific IB focus to Education 500. And what we mean by research methods is that's where we do a proposal in that course. We practice our interviewing skills. We really look at the theory, the education theory, and the practice, and how to put that together in a research proposal and eventual project. We have a lot of fun in that course, so I think you'll enjoy it. The LLED 565 is taught by a language and literacy colleague, again with an IB focus. And you can see that the areas there are language literacy, literature, and language acquisition. 562, now both 500 and 562 are required courses. The 562 is the Introduction to Curriculum Theory and Issues. So we used to call that the History of Curriculum course, because we go back and we look at curriculum and schooling. And it just gives you sort of where do all these curriculum theories come from, and what are the origins, and what are we looking at today? And then the final course, and I'm really excited about the EDCP 508. That course is going to be a summer institute, and a colleague of mine who I actually took a PhD course with my environmental ed course many years ago, Dr. Alistair Robertson, who is an IB world teacher and an IB leader, will be coming in from Norway to teach that course in the summer. And we're really excited to have him. I met with him this summer. He's so excited to be here and meet with everybody. So really looking forward to our summer institute. So that's our first year. And so yes, you may take electives. And let's talk a little bit about electives, because you can take electives at other universities through the Western Dean's Agreement, and we have links there. So there is room in this program for electives, and you are able to take them at universities that participate in the Western Dean's Agreement. So UBC Okanagan as well. There's lots of options for you. So we can talk more about that if anyone has questions. Let's look at year 2. So year 2 is, we have an FC colleague teaching an inquiry approach to teaching and learning, an outstanding expert in that area. Then the 565, the ethics, internationalization, and global citizenship education, an ed studies colleague with an IB expert in that area as well. The EDCP 585, Issues in Teaching and Learning, will be taught by Dr. Adler. And that's a course, we'll bring in professionals from the field as well for that course. And they'll be looking really at an interdisciplinary exploration of teaching and learning in IB settings. So your electives, that's up to you. You get to choose. And we have so many great courses in the Faculty of Ed, and also, as previously mentioned, in the Western Dean's Agreement. Of course, I put my own course up there, EDCP 538, which is the environmental ed course. That's just an example. You don't have to take that. The other course I put up there as an example is EDCP 555, which is the nature of science, which many of our grad students appreciate due to the focus on, very similar to the theory of knowledge in IB. So just as an example, I've included that one. And then we have had some changes this year with TQS, and they're saying that rather than the graduating project, you can also do coursework. So previously, all students had to do a capstone project if they wanted to receive their category 6. Now you have the option of coursework. And so that opens up the possibilities for electives, really. It's really up to you. And you know, that's something we can talk about in Education 500. Doug and I love to talk about your work and your trajectory and what you want to do for your studies. So we will talk about, do you want to do coursework? Do you want to do a capstone? And what might that EDCP 590 look like? They're all different. So we can talk about that. And then we have our summer terms. So, and those are just summer 2B. Again, we would talk about how you want that to look, the project, capstone, or coursework. All right.
Does anyone have any questions at this time? You could use the chat box to type in your question.
Oh, the term dates. Okay, we start September 2020.
Yep.
And the first term ends end of November, like November, whatever the last Thursday is of November. That would be the end of term 1. And December, of course, we don't have courses at that time. That's the end of term 1, that's end of November. And we're just checking the dates for you. And then term 2 starts in January. And we go right through to the end of April for that. So those are term 1 and term 2.
There are 3 terms per year. As Dr. Scott said, September to November, then January to about April, and then May through August. Summer is considered as 1 term, but it's divided into 2 parts. So that's something that we could be aware of.
I think it's nice too, we're thinking with having the Summer Institute, because that's great for practicing teachers. If you can come out and do the 508, there's 3 credits right there in the summer. So I think we definitely try to accommodate, we do accommodate practicing teachers. That's what doing the graduate work here is all about. We make sure the courses work for you time-wise. Total number of weeks per year.
The courses are usually 5 sessions per term where you can meet up.
Yeah.
I don't know in terms of what day of the week you're thinking about, Sandra, or how are you going to set it up in the afternoon on a weekday or an all-day Saturday course?
You know, that's something that we've really left up for discussion, depending on who would like to come and join us. So traditionally, yes, it's a weekday between 4:30 and 7:30. But there has been talk about maybe doing the Education 500 on a series of Saturday mornings, that kind of idea. So we are thinking about making it a bit more flexible if that works for our teachers.
Would it be held in a school district?
We are actually thinking of working with North Van. That was one of the school districts that said, yeah, come on in, we're happy to have you. So there is that possibility that we could bring the course to you. Oh, good. Yeah, we're excited too. We're so excited about this because, you know, it's special. It's just for IB, and people excited about IB, and it's been really a exciting collaboration thus far, and we're excited to keep it going. So thank you, Denise.
And just so you know as well, it's typically 1 required course per term. And then if you wish to take electives on top of that, that is your choice, but we'll discuss it a bit further later in terms of how you can do that.
Yes, exactly. So there's quite a bit of flexibility with the cohort. It really depends on who we work with. So we'll see. Well, we need, I don't know if we have a maximum number. Usually in our courses, for grad courses, we do.
Yeah, it's typically around 20.
Yeah.
Because it's more of a manageable size for a cohort.
Mm-hmm. And 20 works really well. And, you know, the courses I teach in grad, my grad courses go anywhere between 12 and 20 students in the class. And it really is a wonderful number for community building and collaboration. Yeah, it didn't run. And
is there a minimum number for it to run?
There is.
There is.
There is, yes. So personally, I think we'll get there, but we will keep you apprised for sure. But yes, there is a minimum number for it to run. I think we'll get to our minimum number. Because it didn't run last time, and it almost did.
Mm-hmm.
It was really close. So I think we'll do it this time around. We've got extra time for teachers to have their IB experience. I hope so too. I know so. I know so. Yeah, we're feeling very positive about it. And with Meredith, she's been doing so much work. Meredith Fenton has been doing so much work, speaking with former students and collaborating. So I think we have a wonderful team here working towards, you know, getting people to sign up, to enroll. So I'm feeling very positive about it.
So shall I cover the admissions and application information at
Just
this
let me know when you want me to advance the slides of that. So,
I will just take the mouse from
oh,
you.
excellent idea.
No, it's just much easier for me.
There you are.
Thank you. So hi everyone, my name is Yvette Karuba and I will be covering the admissions and applications process this afternoon and as well answering any questions at the end with regards to what I'm about to cover. So firstly, we're looking for a completed 4-year undergraduate degree in education with a GPA requirement of B+, which is 76% at UBC in all senior level courses, which is 300 level and above. Or if you have a GPA on your senior level courses of a B or a B- range, in your undergraduate degree, plus a B.Ed, then you also qualify and meet that GPA requirement that we're looking for. Now, if you don't meet that 76% B+ minimum or the other criteria that I just mentioned, then your application is considered a special case. And in those cases, if the admissions committee feels that you are a good candidate for the program, they will recommend you to the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies and write what is called a special case rationale on your behalf, recommending your application for admission to the program. So please do not worry if you don't meet the criteria that I mentioned. We do have other applicants that this has happened to, but it doesn't mean that you're disqualified from getting into the program. The other thing we're looking for is I ask you to order 2 official sealed transcripts from all post-secondary institutions you've attended except for UBC, because I have access to UBC records, even UBCO records. One of those transcripts will be uploaded. You'll need to upload it to your application front and back. The back of the transcript has the grading key that I use to calculate your GPA. The second official transcript should remain sealed. So if you are admitted to the program, that second transcript will be mailed to the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies. So we ask that you order a recent transcript, one that says that you have graduated, and upload it to your application. Now, if you were part of any kind of exchange program, we will also need to see a transcript from that institution. And if you can please upload your transcripts as a single file as a PDF, that would be best. Now this is just an example of a grading key that's on the back of a transcript that provides the values for letter grades that I use to calculate your GPA. We're also looking for a 600-word statement of intent, clearly outlining your experiences and interests in IB teaching and learning. Do you want to speak to that, Sandra or Doug?
Yes, so a good idea is really to contact Dr. Adler and myself about your SOI, Statement of Intent, because it has to be very clear and focused, and really with a very clear explanation of what it is you want to do in this program. And that's really what we're looking for, clear and focused, and everybody needs a little help with that, because, you know, if you haven't done a statement of intent before for a graduate program, you wouldn't know what the criteria are. So we're happy to help with that. And what we would do is just, you know, maybe direct you to some literature that might help you support your the work that you intend to do, and also help you, you know, just theorize a little bit around your philosophy of education. That really helps for the statement of intent. Douglas, anything to add? Okay.
No, that's for you right now.
Okay.
We're also looking for a resume listing your professional and academic accomplishments, which includes like committee work, newsletters, workshops. Is there anything else that you're looking for on a resume?
Just really, yeah, exactly. The teaching experience is really what we look for first, and also, you know, just where just the length of time that you have had that kind of teaching experience. And never discount informal teaching experience. It's not all about classroom teaching. The informal or outdoor settings, that's just as valid. So please include that as well. If you work at the, you know, a museum or science center, these are very important learning contexts. So don't forget to add things.
We're also looking for 3 years of teaching experience in one IB program, PYP, MYP, or DP. Do you want to speak to that, Sandra?
Yes, so the 3 years, that's important. And really, that comes from the graduate programs, and it is one of the stipulations that really, and you can see why, because to start a graduate program, you really do need at least 3 years experience in an IB setting, or whatever the setting is that your specialization is. You just need the prior knowledge and experience, you need the teaching experience. And I think those of you who have been teaching for 3 years or more know that after 3 years, you know, you're ready to improve your practice, you're ready to explore new directions in education. So the 3 years is not only for graduate programs and for us, but also for you. You will get, I believe, more out of a graduate degree with some teaching experience, and that's why we ask for the 3 years.
And you're talking about professional paid experience versus volunteer experience?
Yes. Sometimes with the Faculty of Grad Studies, or GPNS, we can actually argue that a little bit, but they will say, listen, you know, the stipulation is 3 years, but you know what, I would suggest people, if you have maybe 2 years and 1 year at an IB setting where it's, you know, more, not as formal, put it in. I think we'll try our best, because we've been able to argue that before.
We're also looking for 3 references, 1 academic and 2 professional references. Your professional reference should be from a person who has supervised you. And the reason why we ask for 1 academic reference is typically because the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies wants to see your ability to do, or your capacity to do, graduate work. So if it's best if you can provide a academic reference as well as 2 professional references. And do you want to speak to that in terms of what you're looking for professionals?
Yes. So it's best to have at least one of your references be a faculty member at a post-secondary institution. This is important. The other 2, wonderful to have your principal or, you know, a colleague, but that 3rd reference really should be from someone that has taught you a course, who has supervised you in some way, but that, what we call the academic reference, is actually really important. So, and don't be nervous or shy about asking former instructors. Doug and I are asked all the time, and we're more than happy to do it. We're thrilled that our former students are thinking about graduate work. I always say though, why aren't you doing it in, my area? But that's okay. Really and truly, instructors are happy to write a reference for you, so never hesitate to ask. And it's very important to have that academic reference, as well as the two, as I said, could be your principal or colleague or supervisor.
If they're gonna use a colleague for a professional
Yes.
reference, what are you looking for? Because many people may want to use their colleagues.
Yes. So how do we usually what does that usually look like? I'm just thinking here on our references. So we often get the principal,
Vice principal,
vice principal,
administrators.
yeah, department head, yes. So that type of colleague would be the one, someone who knows your work and has perhaps supervised you in some context.
And in terms of sponsor teachers, would you accept that, or?
We have accepted sponsor teachers in the past.
But sponsor teacher meaning in what capacity?
When they do their practicum?
Like school
I
advisor.
haven't got enough years.
But if they're 3 years out of practicum.
And previous experience.
Yeah. No, I don't get many sponsor teachers, school advisors as references.
No.
I think that's one, but I have seen it. I have seen them, but we don't get many. I would suggest if you have a question, please email me and we can talk about it, about your references. I think we'll do that on a case-by-case basis, for sure. Yeah, because we want you to have a very strong application. So do not hesitate to contact Dr. Adler or myself for sure about that.
Now, in terms of the academic reference, say someone's been out of school for 15 years, how do people typically approach you when they want a reference and you haven't taught them in a long time?
You know what happens is I just ask for their CV.
Okay.
They send me their CV. I have had students do that, and I remember everybody. And I'm just thrilled they're doing graduate work, and they always start the email with, Sandra, I don't think you remember me. And I said, of course I do. And then I say, just send me your CV and let me have a look. And then usually I will often meet with them. We'll go for tea and we'll have a little chat. And then I'm happy to write the reference.
So in terms of the references, they will be submitted electronically. So when you submit your application, an e-reference link goes to your referee, and they could either use the form provided or they can upload their own letter, and instructions are provided. In terms of the email that you provide for your referees, they cannot be from a free Hotmail address like Hotmail, Gmail, Yahoo. It must be something that's like a company or an organization. If they're a retired professor, let's say, they could mail in a letter to my attention, as long as they reference the program that you're applying for on the letter, and the instructions are in the application. So I put my address that you could either send them, and then they can mail it in to me as well. In terms of it being valid, we ask that they sign the seal on the flap of the envelope for it to be valid. So please let your referees know that they should sign the seal on the flap of the envelope before mailing it off to me. Now, in terms of English language assessment, this typically applies to applicants from a university outside of Canada in which English is not the primary language of instruction. They must provide results of an English language proficiency examination as part of their application. Tests must have been taken within 24 months at the time of submission of your application. Now, if this applies to you, please contact me and I will send you the link to the English language requirement that the university requires. And if you have further questions about that, just please contact me. There is also another form that the Faculty of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies is asking that all applicants fill out, and that is called an Acknowledgement of Part-Time Status form. This program is part-time, so they would like you to fill out this form, sign it, and then upload it to the application. There are instructions provided on the application, so if you have any questions or concerns, just let me know. And please put your student ID number on it. And the student ID number, if you haven't attended UBC before, then the student ID number is the application ID that is generated when you submit an application, or before you submit the application. You'll see a number there, and that's a number you use. If you had graduated from UBC, please use the ID that you had before. That will be with you anytime you attend UBC to do any kind of studies. And I do cover that again, I believe, right here. So when you're applying to the program, I do mention, so if you've had a UBC student ID, please use that for the application. And in terms of applying to the program, the link is grad.ubc.ca/apply/online. Now, in terms of the program search, we ask that you put down IB or search IB02. If you search under MEd in Curriculum Studies Professional Cohort, you'll still find the program, but it will take a bit longer, because when you get to, and it's a September start, when you get to experiences and interests, you'll have to select International Baccalaureate, IB02, in a drop-down menu that you will find on the right side. So it's easier, I think, if you do a search under IB02 rather than the MEd and Curriculum Studies Professional Cohort. Now, if you have any concerns around that, just please contact me. And the reason why there's a little bit of an issue with that is because there's different MEds and Curriculum Studies going on at around the same time. And we're looking for you to upload all of your supporting documents. Now, you could start an application, upload some of your documents, then return to the application and upload the rest later. Or you could fill in your personal information, submit the application, pay for it, and then re-enter the application to upload the rest of your documents. So either way works. So the online application is open, and the application deadline is March 1st, 2020, and that should include all of your supporting documents. The application fee is $106 for domestic applicants and $168.25 Canadian for international applicants. International applicants are considered as non-permanent residents or non-Canadian citizen. Now, in terms of the tuition fee, so the domestic tuition fee, and this is the tuition portion only, is currently $23.50 plus student fees. And the student fees were around $745 for the September to December term. And student fees vary from term to term, so it's less as the year goes on. So the current domestic program cost is, tuition cost anyway, is right now $15,141 plus student fees. International tuition fee installment, if you're an international applicant, is currently $25.72 and change Canadian plus student fees. And currently that the international program tuition cost is currently $15,437 and change Canadian plus student fees. And so then there's a minimum of 6 payment installments, which is equal to 6 terms. And the university typically raises the fees every year around May. We're looking at 3 payment installments per year, September, January, and May. And you're paying a whole program fee, not a per credit fee. So with regards to the student fees are charged in addition to the tuition, and they vary from term to term. There is one fee that you could opt out of, and that is called the Health and Dental Plan. And that's currently $256.92 per year. So that's a savings if you already have coverage. And in terms of the Compass card, that is a charge that cannot be removed from your student fees. It's currently $164 per term. It gives you access to 3 zones on public transit, and it applies to all those who live in the greater Vancouver area. So that's just one outstanding fee that a lot of people ask if they can opt out of, and since this is a program that will be held in the Lower Mainland, you will not be able to opt out of it. Teacher education certificates. This is directed to teachers in the Vancouver Lower Mainland that have taken UBC students in their classrooms as student teachers. So these are certificates that have an expiry date, and they vary in amount. You can ask your colleagues if they have any that they're not using, and then ask them for them, and that's a savings on your tuition fee. For more information, I suggest that you get in contact with the teacher education office, and their information is provided there. Do you have anything to speak to about teacher education certificates or taking on sponsored teachers?
Doug knows more about it than I. Recently been working in that, but
Not a specific degree.
no. Actually, that sounds great though, but yeah.
Okay, so in terms of, I'm going to go back to the tuition fee for a second, just so cover a bit about electives. Now, if you decide to take electives during your course of your, I think there's electives built in the program, is there?
Yes.
3 credits or 6 credits?
Yes, at least 3, maybe 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can take more electives than that with Sandra's approval. And that will be covered under your tuition fee. So you're not going to have to pay extra for that. In terms of when you can take them or when it's recommended to take them, that's something that Sandra could speak to. But just so you know, because you're paying a whole program fee, it will cover the electives. And you can take electives through what is called the Western Dean's Agreement, which is an agreement with UBC and Western universities in terms of taking courses at other institutions, as well as there's another agreement with University of Montreal or McGill and a University of Toronto. So that's something that you may want to look into once you're in the program, but Sandra could speak to you further about when to take them and get approval from her before taking them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. There's so many great courses that we offer. So yes, there's lots of opportunities for that.
Do you have any questions?
Okay, I'm not sure what a teacher ed certificate is. I had a UBC teacher candidate last year. Then and are you elementary or secondary? Oh, thanks Denise. Okay, I would contact John Yamamoto and just check with him. And Yvette has his contact email there. He would be able to tell you. You're welcome. There are contact.
And there's our contact information. Are there any other questions?
Probably the best way to get to contact me. I'm not in my office very often because we're teaching. We are always teaching. So email is best, and don't hesitate. I answer email 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. So never worry about sending me an email with questions. I'm happy to answer them. Okay, let's do tea. Oh, great. That sounds good. Thanks, Denise, for sure. Yeah, anything else that we need to?
No, done.
I think-
Excellent job.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, we'll be signing off then, unless there's any more questions. Thank you for attending our information session.
Thanks so much, everyone. We really appreciate it.